Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining. I hope somebody can hear me, please. Hello, kindly unmute yourself if you can hear me or signify on the
We
microphone.
can hear you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. So, we'll be starting today's class while other members will join us during the session or have a recording to today's class. And today we are taking it over again, what we did last week for those who are unable to meet us in the class last week, and due to one or two glitches we have for the recording as well. So we'll be taking it over one more time. And it's going to be insightful and going to be very, very interesting, like what we had last week. So without wasting much of our time, let's get into it. Like I said in the campaign that I sent to each one of us, that this course is basically designed for people trying to come, or people who are already in IT, or those who are aiming to come into IT in one way or the other. However, one of the prerequisites for this course is one needs to have a computer, at least minimum of 8 gig RAM, with either Core i5 or higher, and also capable of running virtual machine on a system. Then I've also sent list of softwares to be downloaded for us to participate in this course, because it is not going to be the usual type whereby we just do the slide. All my trainings are basically 100% practical, and like we also discussed that recently. Okay, so for those of us who have downloaded those applications, it's time we'll have to start doing the installation on our computers. And with that, I will be, just give me a second, please. Okay, so the very first thing is we'll click on some of all those software that I sent for us to download. For example, I sent that we should download a VirtualBox, we should download Windows 11, we should download Windows Server 2025, Ubuntu Server 22.04, and Kali Linux 2025, which I also added all the links where we can download all these files. So having done all this, having downloaded all these files, the next thing is for us to start installing them one by one, sequentially as listed in the links, which is the first one we need to download is VirtualBox. Once we download the VirtualBox, we right click and click install. Once we do the installation won't take more than 2-3, maximum 2 minutes. We'll be able to go through with the installation. Right, Babatunde, can you unmute your mic? You will raise up your hand.
Yeah, quick one. Don't forget to record the class, and
Oh,
your screen is not showing, please.
of course, I've not started. Okay, I'll start doing the
Oh,
share my screen.
okay.
It's
All right.
recording now. Yeah. So with that, we'll be able to do the installation of the VirtualBox. And once we are done with the installation of VirtualBox, then we'll be able to see what is available in there. So in the next couple of minutes, I'm going to demonstrate how that is done and how we give it a go. So right here, for what we are seeing on the screen right here, okay, I think I've now started sharing my screen. Let me share my screen. Please confirm if you can see my screen. Kindly confirm if you can see my screen.
We can see your screen.
Okay, fantastic. That's fine. So now let me also. So this is Oracle VirtualBox, which we downloaded, and if you had installed it, this portion of the screen right here will be blank. This portion that we are seeing right here will be simply blank. If it's blank, then from there it means it's purely empty. Yours may show a white screen, but because I'm using a dark theme screen, so that is why we are seeing it black this way. But yours is likely going to be a white. It depends on the theme that you use on your computer. So with that, the very first thing we do, having installed having installed VirtualBox, it will have it a blank screen. However, um, if during the installation, it may give you some errors. If it gave you an error during the installation, there is another thing that needs to be installed, which is a VC distribution 2025, 2015, 2019, which we can download. But if you have any trouble during the installation, you can just reach out. I will do a guide on how to do the installation seamlessly without any problem. So I just want to log into my second system so we can quickly run that shortly. So if you have installed Windows 11, I mean, if you have installed Oracle VirtualBox on your computer, the next thing we are going to do is we'll click on New. Once you click on New, we are going to create what we call virtual machine. And what do we mean by virtual machine? Virtual machine is a small uh, computer that existed only through a software on another computer. Let me explain it better in another way. Because virtual machine is a computer that can be made available through the use of software called hypervisor. When we call it hypervisor, we have two types of hypervisors. One, type 1 hypervisor, those are the called bare metal. The second, the one that we install on host operating system. We have type 1, we have type 2. Type 1 does not require any installation. The only thing you just install, the type 1 itself is an operating system. That's the only thing that it get installed. While type 2, you install it on an existing operating system. Let's take a look at it. Types of. So if you look at, I'm going to show us a screen. So this is a typical example of how virtual machine works. This is a physical computer. It's a hardware, a physical computer, and it's a hardware, which is your computer, your host computer that you are using. Now, the hypervisor is just an engine that we install. Like I said, we have type 1, type 2. Type 2 is this VirtualBox that we have. Type 1 are those ones of a VMware. Those ones are their whole OS operating system entirely. It still do the same thing. So inside that big operating system, inside that big operating system, that's computer, it will now create. You'll be able to share the resources of the host computer. You'll be able to share the resources of the host computer such that you can create what we call virtual machine. Imagine you have a 32 gigabyte RAM computer. Your computer has a 10 cores processors. Like mine, if you check right here, I have, let me show my processor so we can see exactly what I'm talking about. You can see my computer right here. I'm using how many cores processor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. My computer is 12 cores processor, Core i7, and is 32 gig RAM, meaning that you can see all the processors, all of them are working independently. With a 32 gig RAM, with a almost 1 tera, 512 SSD disk, additional 1 terabyte storage, and like that, like that, like that. So what the hypervisor will do is, I can now create multiple virtual machines. With the use of hypervisor, that hypervisor is exactly what we call VirtualBox. This is a type 2 hypervisor. So we can now create multiple virtual machines. That I'm going to create a virtual machine 1. I can call it, maybe I want to install Windows 10. I can install Windows 10 on the first one, Windows Server 2025 on the second one, Ubuntu Linux on the third one, Kali Linux on the fourth one. The same way that I have it right here. You can see right here, I have Security Onion. It's a whole stack for SOC Security Operations Center solution. I have a Kali on the ground, which is a new breed of penetration testing. This is what ethical hacker use to do all their core activities. I have a Windows Server 2025 right here. I have a Windows 11 PF Sense, which is a firewall. I have another PF Sense, which is also a firewall. I have a Security Onion as well here. I have an OPN Sense, which is a firewall. N8N for AI automation and a process flow. I have a Wazoo Asterisk, which is a for call center voice solution. And I also have a HRM stack, which is for a human resource application, is a web server right here. Everything running inside this computer alone. Now, imagine instead of saying, and wants to test this application from this vendor and the software they are bringing to our office, we need to be sure that it will work well before we buy it, because we can't just pay for what we are not sure if it's going to work well with our processes or our computers or whatever. Is it that every POC from every vendor, are we going to be buying multiple computers? That is almost no. So if we are not going to be buying different computers because we want to do a test, why not just download this free software called Hypervisor? It might be VMware, it might be a VirtualBox, it can also be Hypervisor, the one that comes with the Windows itself. Spin it up, run it, and test your application. Because operating system we can even download for free, which will run for certain number of days or months before it start asking for license. So we can do it, use it for a test to be sure the application we are getting from our partner or vendor is okay. We cannot make payment for those licenses and all that. Imagine instead of having all of this, I have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So meaning that if I don't have this hypervisor, I will need about 11 computers to be running all these applications independently. That is a whole lot of money. To buy a computer of 1.2 million naira each for all these solutions is a whole lot of money. That's about 11 million naira or 12 million naira because we want to test some applications and you are not sure you are going to buy it. So hypervisor makes it easier. And the fact that even our computers are mostly underutilized. You imagine you have a 16 gig RAM computer and the only thing you use is just Microsoft Word. Is grossly, in fact, the utilization of that computer might just be less than maybe around 6% the capacity of your computer. At least, let's say you have a computer of a 16 gig RAM Core i7 and it's the 10th gen processor. And you are using it for only Microsoft Word to review, to type and all that, or maybe to even browse. It's a total waste of resources because it's grossly underutilized. This is where hypervisor now makes it easier. So install it in there, you'll be able to simulate so many things at the same time, whereby I will say this particular one, I want to ensure that it's going to work and will create resources. Now, let's jump into it now. Having installed VirtualBox right here, I'll click on New. Let's say I want to do Windows Server 2025. I already have one right here, but I'll create another one. And I'll name it Windows Server 2025. And I'll call it B or any name that you call it, because I already have one here, so I can't use that name. I need to use another name. Then the location of the ISO. The ISO are those files that I asked us to download during the class, which we can also see right here. The list of all those files that I asked us to download, as you can see it right here. I say VirtualBox, it is here. Then the second one is Windows 11. The third one is Windows Server 2025. Then the third one, and like that. So all of these are once we have downloaded all of it, we now select the location where those things are downloaded. Likely it's going to be download folder. However, if your own is not in download folder, wherever you download the file, go and pick it where you downloaded it to. So in my own case, I have it saved in a folder called ISO images. And I'll look for Windows Server 2025 right here. So I have it right here. I click open and you will see skip unattended installation. I will click here, skip it, because I don't want it to do the installation automatically. So I'm going to do that one to skip. All right. So I'm going to, next thing is, your own might not be showing accordion version like this. Maybe yours is showing next. After you do this one, I'll ask you to click next. So next thing is we'll click next or click this accordion down here. Then we'll select the hardware. This hardware thing, this is, in fact, let me say it again. This name is the name that we are going to use to identify what we have right here. If you like, you can call it Clement test server. Whatever is you that knows the name that you give it. It doesn't matter. You can call it test server 1 or lab 1 or my primary lab 1, lab 2, production server 1, production server 2, backup server 1, web server 2, whatever name. And you choose the ISO file as we have it right here. Oh, sorry, hold on. I need to. I'm coming. I need to check something. My mouse is not functioning somehow. I'm coming. I just want to quickly adjust one particular setting, which is not, because once I click on something, I expect it to show the. Okay, once I click Control key, I expect it to. Okay, well, I think I'll come back to that later. So sorry for that. So we can name it any name that we have right here. We can call it Windows Server 2025 or whatever, Windows Server 2025B. Then you go to ISO images, you click order. You go to where you selected that file, where you save it, you click on it. Then you see skip unattended or installation. Just make sure you check it. Make sure you check it so it will be able to skip. Then we'll go to hardware. Hardware is where we now define what amount of resources we want to allocate to this computer. For example, my computer has 32 gig RAM. You can see it right here. If you can zoom very well, you see 32 gig RAM. And the processor as well. I would suggest if your computer is 32 gig RAM, or if your computer is 8 gig or 16 gig, for Windows Server, 2 gig will run it, as in for a start, just for a demo or whatever. 2 gigabytes, and that is why you also need to do a search online. You can say minimum requirement for Windows Server 2025. Minimum hardware requirement. I can say minimum. So you can see it right here. You can say, let me zoom in. The minimum hardware requirement for Windows Server 2, the processor of close 1.4 gigahertz speed and support specific blah 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 and all of this. For minimum of memory, at least 512 or even as much as, but for server core installation, 2 gigabyte is needed with desktop experience. So the reason why they say 512, we have two options for Windows Server. We have core installation and we have GUI, desktop experience installation. I will explain that when we get to the level. All right. That is why 2 GB RAM for desktop experience, though 4 GB is recommended for smoother performance. But if you go to their website as well, you will see the same thing in there. In fact, they even stated 1024 megabytes, which is 1 gig. You can see hardware requirements. You can see everything right here. This is from Microsoft website. You can see the Microsoft logo in here. So all their requirements for CPU architecture requirements, minimum of 1.4 gigahertz RAM with minimum of a 2 gig for core, 2 gig with desktop experience, but 4 gig is recommended, and all of that. The storage, 2 GB of space, and blah blah blah. It goes like that, like that, like that. Now let's go back to this. So because of this is just a training purposes for personal experience. It's not a production server. So we'll be looking at 2 GB. If you're, let's say your computer RAM is 8 gig RAM, 2 GB is okay. It will run. Then processor, we just need at least 1 gig will run as well, but let's make it 2 cores. You slide it to 2, or this up in this place here, you place it as 2. You type 2 here. Make sure you don't cross this green line. This green line, don't cross it. Because a tenant cannot take more space more than the landlord. A single tenant cannot take more space more than the landlord. So anyway, let me not leave it that way. And then we now also give hard disk. Hard disk is the storage where it will store all the files. The amount of files that it will install, that it will acquire on the hardware. Imagine having a warehouse, a warehouse, empty warehouse. Inside that warehouse, you now want to rent a space out. That warehouse is big and massive. It has a generator. That generator is 100 kVA generator. You now want to lease out spaces for people to come and use your warehouse, because you as the owner of the warehouse, the only thing you just use there, you just use small space. Out of 1,000 square meters, let's say 5,000 square meters, the only space we have been using for the past 2 years is just maybe 200 square meter, including your small office, 200 square meter. So why not lease out the other space for other people that can use it, and you earn more, you save more money on taxes and some other things. That is exactly the similar thing what we are talking about in virtualization, using hypervisor for running additional operating systems. So you allocate spaces, but the space you will allocate must not be bigger than the space the entire storage or the entire host can handle. That is why we can't take more than, you cannot say your hard disk is 500 gig and you say you want to allocate 1 terabyte of, no, allocate appropriately. Let it be small, and let it be something that the OS will also run with. Once you do that, maybe 50 gig is recommended. That is fine. Click finish. Once you click finish, it is here. You can see right here. We can now click start. However, as time goes on, I will show us some other functions around all these places as well. If I click settings, now you can see the settings. Let me make my screen a little bit bigger so that we can all see it properly, because somehow it looks small in one way or the other. Sorry, we learn every day. So if let me change my screen. I want it so that you can see the screen a little bit bigger than what it's in there. Okay, I guess with this, we can, okay, I guess it's a little bit bigger now. So right here, we have all of these settings right here. We have this, we have advanced, we have the description, disk encryption. So for under general, if you go down to left, share clipboard, drag and drop, all those things we can turn it on, click bi-directional, and drag and drop, click bi-directional. So what that means that from your Windows 11, you can drag something into the windows of a Windows server and also copy out something from there as well. Description, I can also say that this server, this is personal test server for educational purposes. Then this encryption, this is where we can now encrypt the disk the same way we have what we call BitLocker, such that even if anybody get access to this computer, they won't be able to steal anything from here. They won't be able to clone, because if they copy out the disk image file, they may have access to all the confidential information in that virtual machine. And that is why this disk encryption is also applicable. So if you click here, you can now say leave unchanged or use the algorithm that is even better, and which is XTL256 is much better. So you can now type your password for the disk encryption as you want. You can just say you type your password. And once you do that, meaning that if anybody copy the disk from where it's stored, they can't use it. It's not usable for them because it's going to be encrypted. Nobody can except you. But I don't need it. Let me just remove it. But for compliance, for security and audit, and to be ISO 27001, NIST, all this, they state that your disk, your computers must be encrypted such that nobody unauthorized access can have access to data in those machines. So that is that. Then we can also go to system. Maybe you want to, like, you have your computer, you want to increase the RAM. Maybe you have tested the application and it works as expected. You can say that, okay, oh, I'm adding more RAM to it. I want to make it 8 gig RAM. 8 gig, and that is 8192. That is exactly 8 gigabyte RAM. The processor also, I'm noticing that the application, it takes time to boot, it takes time to run, and even the processor is getting to 100%, 80, 90, 80, 90. Then you can now say you want to increase more RAM, make it 4, so that it's just like having multiple piston, multiple engine in your computer, I mean your vehicles, to run faster and all that, to have more capacity. That is right there. Then para virtualization for KPN, Hyper-V and all that, just leave this as it is. For advanced purposes, those ones are available in there. Now let's move to display. The display will show the amount of memory that we are available for the device. The same way we have GPUs in our computer. For example, my computer GPU is 4 gig, dedicated 4 gig RAM, and also has a 16 gig RAM GPU enabled, and the extra GPU again, which is 16 gig RAM, so that it makes the transition, gaming and all that run smoothly. The same thing right here as well. Video memory 128 is very okay. And how many monitors do you have? Do you have 2 monitors, maybe 1 or 2? I just leave it as it is, 1 monitor, just leave it as default. The scale factor, uh, your monitor, do you want it to be big or high or low? Just leave it as it is. Recording, maybe you want to be recording everything that is doing. Maybe somebody is doing something and you want to record exactly what that person is doing. You can set it that to start recording at the so frame where the video will be recorded, the word version. Is it only the video only or both video and audio and all that? You can capture all those information and leave it. Maybe somebody is working on one VM, maybe you give it to a vendor, and that vendor is to install some application on your system and you want to monitor what that person does. You can turn on this recording and this will be recorded to a specific location. So you can have a replay back of what that vendor did. So you can have a full understanding of everything that takes place. And that is a very good option. You can also set the frame size for the screen, set it as appropriately. Maybe you can leave it this way or leave it according to your screen capacity. I will leave it like this. Yeah, I will leave it like this for high resolution, and 2500 is okay. Just leave it this way. But I don't need this as well. Then the storage, this one as it is, we leave it as is. Audio, leave it as is. Network. Now network, we have two types of network. We have NAT, which is a network address transfer NAT. And that is that on its own. But you can also use it as a bridge adapter. I would like it to be on a bridge adapter. And we'll leave it this way as a bridge. And we'll click OK. So everything is set this way and click OK. So having it this way now is set to start. So once we do this, I'll just click on start. So by clicking start, we are installing a whole new server entirely. Good. You can see this one right here is just a notification. I can click, I can delete this notification. So you can see right here that it is not as difficult as it looks. IT can be fun. It all depends on how much commitments you want to put into it. I can also click another one again. The first one is keyboard notification. The next one now is because there is a mouse notification right here. So I'll click delete this one. So this is installing a this is a language setting. The language you want to install is US by default. By time and currency, maybe you are in the US, maybe you are in the UK. I can leave it because the love I love for my fellow country, Nigeria. I can just say English Nigeria. Yeah, I can say I love my country, English Nigeria. Even though the keyboard language to install is this, leave it this way. The keyboard say input. Your type of keyboard will determine. For example, the popular one is US keyboard with your Alt key. Alt key for the email Alt key is on number 2. That's a US keyboard. And British keyboard has their Alt key close to Shift Enter key on the middle side of the keyboard. So I'll click next. Install Windows Server, yes. Or do you want to repair my PC? Let's say you have a Windows Server that is not booting properly. You can say to repair it, or maybe it's having some issues. You can say repair. So meaning that you already installed it on that computer before, but if it's a fresh, you click on install Windows Server. Then I click on I agree, even though you've not read it, but we always agree anyway. Who cares about reading grammars? You click on next. So having clicked next right here, it will also takes us to two other functions right here. We have a Windows Server 2025 standard evaluation, and we have 2025 standard evaluation desktop experience. Good. That is what is they were talking that time, that we can use desktop hold on right here, when they were talking about the server core and desktop experience. For example, hold on, let me. Good. So it says server core. Server core means that the only thing that works in there is just your keyboard. Mouse doesn't work in server core. And this first one here is server core. It's lightweight. You will not see all this GUI, all this my computer. You won't see anything in there. The only thing is purely command line, CLI, command line interface, CLI. Of course, I believe all of us understand what we mean by command line. That one is much faster. In fact, it's more stable and less resource intensive. Unlike the GUI that require more graphics, more memory, more processes. But for real data center engineers, real deal, you use server core. But many of us, we are lazy. We prefer what we can see with our eyes. We don't like all this black screen on the GUI, on the command line screens. But when we get to cybersecurity, you have no option. You have to use command line. So we'll be going with a desktop experience because that is where we'll be able to use our mouse so that we can see where we click next and all that. So we'll be using this. We are using this. You need minimum of 2 gig RAM, but 4 gig is okay. But we'll be using 2 gig for a test. However, you will also say why I didn't talk about the data center. Data center is exclusive for servers that has more virtual machines. For example, some virtual machines on the core on data center can take more than 10, 20, up to 64 virtual machines on a single computer, on a single server. Like this one right here, if it's a Windows server, it cannot run more than 2. Only 2 virtual machines can run on a standard server. Only 2 virtual machines can run hypervisor. But for data center, you can run up to 64. All right? You can run up to 64 virtual machines. So that's the experience. That's the difference. So let's go with this and we'll click on next. Don't forget server 2025 standard evaluation. Desktop experience. Don't forget desktop experience. Standard evaluation, desktop experience. And you click on next. Once you click on next, it will ask you to read. Yes, if you have time, you can read to be sure you accept their terms. Accept, and it takes us to another thing again where we will ask us for the disk. Now, you can now see that the disk that I allocated the other time, which is a 50 gigabyte disk that were allocated when we were setting it up, you can see it right here. It is a 50 gigabyte disk. So now it's here and I'll click on next. So now it's going to do what? It starts to install. Now ready to install, keep nothing because there's nothing in there, it's a fresh server. And I'll click install. Having this right here will kickstart the installation. So this will take maybe 15 minutes or more. You see the same process that we are installing this Windows server is the same process we use to install Windows 11. However, Windows 11 can be a little more complex than this. To install Windows 11 can be a little complex than this, but we are going to deal with it. So because we already have it and because of our time, I would like to cancel this installation because it will make there's no much time to start looking at the installation from scratch. Since we already have it, I have it installed right here. I'll be using the one that I have in here, and I will be canceling this instance power of the machine. Please, if you have to shut down, do not always just click shut down. You have to click start, shut down, power shut down. Normally, the way you shut down your Windows. You don't, because you want to shut off your vehicle, you don't run your vehicle to go and hit a electric pole because you want to stop the engine. No. Doing it this way is like you're running a car to hit electric pole. You power off. You don't remove the power socket from a server. No. You shut down appropriately. But for this case, sorry, I'm going to power off because it is of no use. And because it's of no use, I already have one in here. Because it's taking more space, I can just right click right here, remove, because I don't need it any longer. I can just click delete all files. It is gone. So making it easier, even if you are testing an application and you just want to be sure that it works well before you buy a new server and it works exactly as you want, then you can now maybe right click on it and say delete, and it takes away that thing entirely. It doesn't affect all your files, all your Microsoft Word, your everything you install. And that's one of the benefits of running virtual machines on a server or whatever operating system that you use. So that is that right there. The same way we do that is the same way we install Windows 11. All right? But it's just one or two little differences around it, because one is a server and one is a client. We call it client OS because a server is there serving, and it's also a client that is making requests from a server. So Windows 11, Windows 10, they are all called client OS. So let's now power up the Windows 11 client. All right, so right then, while that one is coming up, let's take one or two questions from us. If you'd like to entertain more questions while Windows 11 is running, I'd like you to say something. Yeah, Babatunde, unmute your mic and say something. Let's talk about it.
Mm. Thank you so much. While I was mm, installing my Windows 11 and 25
Yeah.
separately outside the VirtualBox, after completing the after downloading it rather,
Mm.
uh, I was asked if I want to mount it, but I ignored it. So I went back to the virtual machine rather to do the necessary stuff, and I inputted it where I was supposed to put it. Then I think I mounted it from there. But do I need to do it outside the VirtualBox first? Install it first, then go to VirtualBox to complete the process.
Yeah, you need to go to VirtualBox and do the mounting properly from the VirtualBox.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
going
right. Because
to,
I didn't mount it outside the VirtualBox. That's what I mean.
oh, you need to mount it from the beginning from the VirtualBox. So now this
No,
is it
outside the. I mean outside the VirtualBox.
outside. I'm trying to understand. Okay, let
After
me show
after
you
in-
the best
after
way.
installing. Okay.
Let me show you the best way of doing it. This is Windows Server 2020. This is Windows 11 or Windows Server. Let's say you've created a profile. If you created the profile, make sure it is not running, because you cannot change the spark plug for engine of a vehicle that is running motion. You are running 70 miles per hour on the high speed. You cannot change the spark plug. You need that engine to stop, open the bonnet, which is the open settings, and you begin to change whatever thing you want to change. So mounting ISO storage, you click on storage, you click on um, what is it? So you now click on this one right here, and you click on add. You want to add optical drive. You can see the logo optical drive. You click on it. Now go and look for where ISO for Windows 11 is. I can say add, and I'll go to Windows 11. You can see right here. I have it right here, and I'll say open. So it's already added. It's on the list right here. Because it's on the list right here, let me scroll up a little. So it's already selected, and I'll say choose. So I've already added it right here, meaning that boot from this ISO. This is the hard disk. This hard disk is, I say, added 20 gig for storage. It's just a test, 20 gig. But actually, it has used 16 gig of it. Please don't mistake it. The virtual site is just like we have a house. Is for me, you have a land 400 square meter is a full plot size, but the amount of space that you use to build your house is just like a 350 square meter. You still have about 50 square. So that is what this one is talking about. Virtual site is 20, but the actual consume is 16.89. So that's the hard disk. But this is the ISO image that were downloaded. You say is a CD. You can see right here. Just click OK. But I'm not going to do that. That is how for you to correct that error. But you are still having that error, just reach out to me after this class. We'll be able to take it. We won't be able to do that right here, right now, because of our time. You understand that? Okay. So I'll be taking off this one right here. Discard changes. I don't need any changes. Right here, this is Windows 11. Let me power it up and let's get into it. Let me close some settings that I've opened up. I have a lot of things running simultaneously. You can imagine all these page, each of these tabs has like a 30, 20, 30, 20 tabs. I have about 250 tabs open on all my browsers, about 250 tabs. Oh my goodness. All right, so this is Windows 11 running. So let me try and log in. Somebody should remind me of my password. Remind me and win a 1 million naira from me. You can open your mind and tell me. No. All right, so you're logging into the Windows 11. So right here, we'll be now talking extensively on Windows 11 because we are starting from Windows 11. We'll move to Windows Server. We'll move to Windows Linux. We now begin to also go into uh, other ones. So let me just, okay. Do you know the reason why when I just did right here? So I can automate the screen resolution. There is a software called Insert Guest Addition CD. What it does is it allows the screen resolution to correct itself automatically. So irrespective of how I adjust it, if I adjust it, it automatically readjusts itself. Anyway, we'll get to that level when we really need it. So right here, this is Windows 11 running inside my Windows 11. You can see while I have this open right here, I can also open another one for you to see. So we have to separate. So very first thing you have is when you are, sorry, let me, uh, I just need to check something. I just need to quickly check because I always like to disable network on this adapter. Okay, that's fine. So So um, this is Windows 11, and you already have it installed. Um, our goal for this class is geared towards security and system administration and security. So having installed Windows 11, the very first thing we all need to just look at is to ensure that this system meets the requirement. We can click that by clicking on the file manager at the taskbar. This is the taskbar right here. Click on the file manager, a file explorer. While the file explorer opens up, you click on this PC right here. Having clicked on this PC, you will see the details of your drive and the all the other folder that you have on this PC. Having done that, you see the utilization out of 20 gig storage that I set up on this. It has, because I've been using it since January for a lot of programs. I've used it for a lot of courses. You can see some of the penetration testing class we've done. This is how we create a malware for a dangerous attack and all that. But sorry, let's not go there. In fact, let me hide this thing so your eye will not be going to that place. Cybersecurity is fun, and security is just a whole lot of fun. It's purely fun if you know what you are doing. Also, it can be dangerous. Please don't play with fire. So, having your Windows up right here, and you've seen the utilization, the disk storage, and all that, we have the only single disk. So, let's go deep into it right here. Oh, I need to, I knew it. It starts downloading update, which I don't want. So, I want to be sure that because this system has started, it seems at this place right here, you see this green and red, it means it's connected and it's seeking data from the internet. Doing this, it shows that it's likely, maybe it's not really consuming bandwidth, 90 megabytes. It's trying to get to the internet and all that. But let me disable it. I can just right click on this thing that looks like double computer. You can right click connect network adapter, and that is disabled. If you don't want to do it that way, you can also come to desktop. Desktop, I hope you can see my console. I thought this console will open up well. Right here, if you click on devices, go to network, move to the left, and you see this is already enabled. If you can uncheck it right here, it's like you disconnect the network cable for this virtual computer. Boom, you can see it's saying network disconnected. It's like you've disconnected it. So having done this right here, this computer is not connected to anything on the network. Even if there are 20 or 30 or 10 computers running, virtual machines running, is running, but it's isolated. And that is why we can run, I can run malware, run a virus, I can run dangerous, complex things independently that do not affect any systems. I can also do it such that this OS, Windows 11, can go through the firewall that I have right here. I have a firewall right here called PFSense. I have another one called OPN Sense. I have another one PF. So I have many of them like that, and they are there. So I can say that run through this firewall for me to test if the file malware or whatever I'm running is if the firewall will capture the malware and all that for all the stuff. So you can see that I've disconnected it from network. That is one thing. Now, the next thing we are going to look at is the core system details. On your taskbar, right here, right click on it. Please do this on your own computer as I'm talking. Whether you are using Windows 10 or using Windows 11, it's the same thing. I say right click. If you right click, you will see all these things on your screen. Once you do right click, all right, once you do right click, you will see all of this. So we can now begin to look at things like a device manager. Device manager will show us if all drivers for all the devices or hardware peripherals are rightly installed. Because a computer is made up of multiple peripherals: deck, screen, keyboard, mouse, Bluetooth, USB, speakers, uh, what different things, memory, RAM, CD-ROM, network adapter, sound, all of them. Let me increase the resolution from here as well so we can also have a better view because it's looking small. Let me make it a little bit bigger. So me, I can see no matter how tiny that font could be, I can see it well. But okay, it's okay. So you can see right here, meaning that everything here is okay. It shows that nothing is no error, because if there is any error, you will see a yellow triangle. That yellow triangle means there is a problem. That yellow triangle means there's a problem. Let me show you exactly how that problem may also look like. Let me say device manager yellow icon. How it normally look like if the system is having a problem. Let me go to images. You can see what it's even saying right here. A yellow exclamation mark in device manager indicates that Windows has detected a problem with hardware device, which could be missing. Maybe device is missing, corrupted, or improperly installed driver, a system resource conflict, or other hardware related issue. All right. So let's look at what it looks like. If I click on the image, okay, the thing, good. If you can see what is, if you can see what is in here, you can see this yellow icon is exclamation, showing that there is a problem with this firmware for UFI, meaning that this computer may not really boot very well. It's a firmware for the BIOS. It's having a little issue. And that is what this one is just saying right here. So many, it can be a Bluetooth, maybe a wireless. Sometimes if you're browsing, you just see that your network disconnected. Quickly go and check that place. Maybe your network, it just go off all of a sudden. The sound will not talk. Or one thing or the other, the Bluetooth will not work. And even though it's plugged, it's showing you flight mode all the time. If you go there, you will see where the error comes from. That is the hardware uh, monitoring side. So one of the ways we do that is either you uninstall the sound, you upgrade the device manager, or you upgrade the driver, sorry. It's either you right click, let's say maybe the display is showing too big like this. You can just right click on that device and say update driver. If you say disable device, it will cause some errors. If you say disable, maybe you want to disable the LAN. It will not work. Like this one now, you can see this LAN right here. Let me do it. Let me show it, practicalize it again. So this is a network adapter, and I want to practicalize exactly what it looks like. So this is network. If I say disable device, are you sure? Yes. If I disable it, you can see it's been disabled here. Sometimes you just look at your, what happened? It's not working. Is this? Is that? If you double click it, it opens back. But sometimes it may not do that. Now let me now say Uninstall device. Uninstall. Now we can now see now the network is no longer there. You look at your system, the Wi-Fi is not working. But it worked yesterday before I shut down. Sometimes might be one little problem, update, malware, this or that. So in that case, you may go to places like this and click on scan for hardware changes. Once you do that, you will see, now you can see, oh, okay, it has come up. There's a yellow icon in here. You can see it has come back automatically by itself. So one way or the other, you can do that. You can go to properties, and if there's error in there, you will see device is working, it's not working properly. It's configuration error, this and that. You can see driver. You can also say you want to update the driver. You can say scan for drivers automatically. Okay, it says the best driver is already installed. But if it's still not working as expected again, and you are connected to internet, you can say upgrade driver. However, if it is network and it's not connected and it's still saying you want to update on Windows, maybe you may want to put maybe your phone through your USB cable and use USB Theta or connect via Wi-Fi or maybe a wired cable. One way or the other, short gets a system, a network with that computer. I use that to troubleshoot the systems a lot by plugging my phone to the computer and turn on USB Theta. It thetas the internet on that device, and the system will have internet. And with that, I will be able to use it to install drivers for all devices without looking for network cable or Wi-Fi. So that one, it gets systems sorted out very fast. So that is that for the device driver. So now let's move on to another one. Before I move on to another one, any questions so far? Please ask your question. Okay, if there is no question, I will take it to the next one. So let's click on the start button one more time, right click, and we now go to computer management. This is where the main core thing relies. In fact, right here should have been the best place where we come from initially. So this is computer management for local computer. Under here, we have computer system tools, storage, and services and applications. We'll first look at system tools, which is task scheduler, event viewer, share folders, local and user group, performance, device manager. After that, we'll look at storage, which is disk management. After that, we'll look at services and application, services and WMI, Windows Management Interface, Windows Management Interface, instrumentation, sorry. So we look at the very first one, which is the system tools. The system tools, we can first look at task scheduler. You see, under task scheduler, that is when different activities runs on the system. Just like your phone, you have alarm on your phone that once it's 5:30 a.m., it should ring, bram, 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 it wakes you up that it's time to go to work. Bram, 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 6 o'clock, you need to start dressing for church service. The same thing this one too right here, it does all of this. Task scheduler. So right here, so many applications that we install, your antivirus, your calendar for Outlook, this and that, majority of them, once you set is that you want your antivirus, your endpoint protection to scan at a particular interval on so day and so type, like this, like that. It comes to this task scheduler to create that task. And you can see create basic task. By clicking right here, what does it do? It comes and say create a basic task. I can say a what else? Defragment. I can say defragment my disk every month. Every month to make it run faster. However, if you are running SSD, if your computer is SSD, anyway, most computers these days they are SSD. They don't need defragments. They don't need it. Except for old type of disk, which is HDD, and those ones are still slower because SSD is time 10 faster than HDD. You can go and search about that for yourself. And NVRAM is even times 8 faster than SSD. NVRAM is faster than SSD. So we can click next. Trigger, is it weekly, daily, monthly, or whatever? Or when specific event happens. Maybe when there is also, maybe there is a network failure, do this, do that, do this, do that, whatever. Or when I log in, run this script, do that. You can say run this month. Maybe one want to say that you should start running from January. Maybe that's when that policy will come in. And what time, whatever, all those stuff. Just do everything you want, the days, whatever. Then next, I'm not going to do that. Then start a program. Okay, which program do you want me to start? Can I get the script of where that folder lies? Maybe we go to system, we can now look for the fragmenter. This is it. Or if it's a calculator, maybe you want to run and want to log in, launch calculator automatically. So many things like that. Optional. Maybe you want to give some command. You can search for all those things. So this is where all those things comes in, where it takes place. And with it, you can also look at existing what do we call it? Task that is run, that is already a schedule. Like this one now, run every day. Microsoft updates. That's a Edge. Microsoft Edge updates task machine. So meaning that every 6:56 p.m. every day, trigger and repeat for this, and that. You can see right here. Every 6:56 p.m. every day, trigger, repeat every 1 hour for a duration of 1 day. So every 1 hour, it will always try to go to the internet to go and check if there's a new update. You can see some other details right here as well. Trigger, actions. What action starts this program, which is update exe. If the file itself is inside, so that is why sometimes you see different applications inside a particular folder. And the extension script that it will run along with it. Part of all this is not where we really need, but I want to show us deep action what takes place in all these applications silently. Sometimes you open your task manager, you see different things that is running at the same time. Why are all these things running? Some of these things are the thing that is running silently. And it goes like that. NPC watchdog. What is this? NPCAP. Run at system startup. NPCAP is, we use it for Wireshark. And it capture whatever I set that capture this particular data that is going blah blah blah. OneDrive. This is OneDrive that is copying uh, data on your computer, making sure that they are being loaded to the OneDrive, so that whatever you save on your computer within a short minute uploaded to the OneDrive server. Well, I'm sure many of us will understand what I mean by OneDrive. which is a cloud backup service from Microsoft. For reporting, for different, all this that you are seeing right here is for different users, because we've created different accounts. And you can see, I'll show us as the time goes on as well. So all this, this one, this one, this one, these are different users, different logons, as in different user program account that were created. And how to know those accounts? Let me go to File Manager, File Explorer, go to Drive C, go to Users. Under Users, we now see list of users that are created. I create administrator is there, Deeper is there. I created Shegun. So these are the three users that we add their task ID S135. These are their task ID. These are their task ID. So each of it run at so time check, run at so time check, run at so time check, and so many other ones in there. It depends on number of applications that we install. If you install Kaspersky, if you install this, you will see all their start scheduled right here as well. And that is that for task scheduler. Now let's go to the next one, which is an event viewer. I want us to pay more attention to event viewer. As an auditor, as a security analyst, as a cybersecurity, as an ethical hacker, and whatever name you call your, whatever title you have, if you are a CIO, if you are director of technology, you still need to have a little understanding or be able to say something about all these places as well. So that even when some of your younger colleagues are telling you something, or you say that, Oga, go and sit down, this and that, they will know that Oga know what he's saying. So looking at event viewer, every action that you take on a computer is being logged in event viewer. And most people think they can outsmart a system. You may not be able to outsmart a system, except the administrator did not really take time to configure the system as expected according to the best practices. If you follow security frameworks like NIST, ISO 27001, and all that. In fact, like NIST, they stated there that your what do we call it, event viewer should be even be remotely backed up in a remote server. So everything that takes place on this computer should also needs to be remotely backed up. Most administrators don't do that. That is log server. We may have a log server that is in another place, whereby everything that happens to every system, application, whatever, is being remotely configured to log to another server. So even a hacker comes to this place and do one or two things and wipe out a log on this computer, every details of what that hacker did will have been immediately been logged and collected and logged to another server that is not on this network. So with that, we can know exactly what that person did, how it came, what program did they launch, what did they disable, what did they do. For forensic purposes, we use log to understand what is going on. So right here, now let's look at custom views, administrative events. So these are events, things that we perform. Look at it right here. It's already showing what I did a few minutes ago. Let me make it a little bit smaller. I think it's too big for my eyes. I don't know, I like a smaller. Sorry, you have to pardon me on this, because it's like they are throwing these big things to my face. So, okay, good. So right here, you can now see it's saying warning this and that. That is Windows source from Windows Setup Device Manager. We try to do this, we try to do that. The time it took place, 4:16 p.m. And what is time now? It is 4:30. We did that about 4:16. On whose computer? CIO PC. Because my computer name is CIO. I call it CIO. That's why I always tell people, give yourself a title that you know you want to become in the next 2 years. So you start living, start working towards some of all those things. So the computer name is CIO. So with this, I can see if there are multiple activities, I will see them as it is. Whether it's warning, you can see error. What error is it? This one is Windows remediation. Fail to start following error. You may also check what error. Just do a search with this error. I myself, I don't know the meaning of this error because it's almost impossible for you to know meaning of all errors. Just Google it, you will see what is that error about. You can also check the event details and you'll be able to see the friendly view or XML view. If you click right here as well, you see Windows kernel event tracing and some other. These are the things like SIM, your security events, security incident and event management solution, SIM, XDR, your EDR, your firewall, and all that. This is where they collect all their information to know what is happening. In fact, when you run audit, a security audit of the application on a computer, they come straight to event. That's the primary place where they come to event. They copy all those logs. So things we have done since 5 years ago, it's still there because event log grow bigger. So if you want to just copy out that event log first, then you can now start doing some other things. Start looking at the files available on the systems and all that. So that is that for event, and that is for custom view. We can also do some things like a filter. You can find what are you looking for. I can say kernel. Let me just say kernel. Find next. So you can now see some other things that are also kernel, which is also on. I can now see some other ones right here. I can click on general. Just want to, I can see kernel is here. You can see from that up, it brought us down to that place. Kernel. Look for another one. So you may see so many things. You can say you want to look for errors. What are the errors? Because even with this, you can also check to see what is happening, what are the errors. Right here, he is talking about the license. So you can use some specific applications to dive into the log. Event viewer is very, very detailed. Tell you when somebody logged in. Somebody say, I didn't touch your computer, or I'm not the one. You will know because event log will show that somebody logged into this computer. What time? What did he do? He opened Task Manager. Yes, he logged it. He opened it, and all of those stuff like that. You see more of what you can do from there. You can find, you can export, you can attach, you can do so much. Let's go to Windows log. This is where we have some other stuff. Windows log, we have application security, startup, setup, system, and forward event. The one I was talking about is forward event, forwarding event to a syslog server. So every event that comes to this system, I can forward it to a new server such that even if the system crash or whatever, all those things that happened before it crashed or application install, whatever, traces is being captured. Sorry, I will soon leave room for us to be able to ask some questions. I just want to cover this side appropriately. Then let's look at application. Application is where you have application that you yourself you install. These are applications that were installed on this computer. Applications, purely applications, not OS itself, but applications. You can see Windows Defender status successfully. The security product state is on, meaning that is active, is on. You can see, scroll down to see some errors. It's still talking about licensing, whatever. You can also don't clear log thing. This is where hackers comes in. They do clear log. If I say, do you want to clear, save and clear, or you just want to clear? If you are the owner of the system, maybe it's too big and it's consuming so much space or whatever, you may want to say you want to clear. But if you know what you're doing, but for security purposes, don't come here. So, and so many other things. You can do filter log. You can now say that, okay, what am I trying to look at? I'm looking for errors. I'm looking for warning. Only these two. From which source am I looking at? Is it from runtime or Chrome? Maybe I'm saying I'm looking it from Edge or Bluetooth or whatever. Just do a search. Chrome, or let's say, just do your search. Wherever you know you are going through. Maybe it's from whatever, maybe it's battery or anything. Maybe it's BitLocker, anything that you know that is, because there are hundreds to thousands of things that are listed in here. But if I'm not specific, I'll leave it this way. Even if you are very sure of the event ID, for example, like this 8198 is an event ID for a particular is a set of event. You can also put all event IDs in there, or particular keyword. Maybe you want to know failure, to know what are the things that is failing. Audio failure, uh, audit success, audit failure. Maybe that's what you want for all users, or how many users. You will also want to put the username of that person. To get the username of that person, just come here, Shegun, Bimbo, administrator. Get the username of that person, put it in there. From which computer, or if no, just all those things, and just say, okay. It may take some time, but as it is, this one is saying 0. Maybe because we don't really have more information on audit failure. You can just say, you uncheck it and you say, okay. So you can now see list of all errors. It goes like that, including warning. Windows Manager process exit, primary device, VirtualBox graphics adapter. It's telling us about something about this. You may also want to check why is this one coming up. If you want more details, whatever. It's showing you there, and all of that. More of what we have right here is activation. Licensing activation failed because I didn't activate this license. That's that. Let's security. You can also see right here audit success, audit failure, password, log on, special log on. Maybe one application tried to log in, blah, blah, blah. You get more of all these things right here. Like I said, this is where audit application comes to search everything that is in there. Somebody even logged into your system remotely, it logs right here. What system? System from so name. The system name this, system name that, log on to this system, try to access this system, but it failed. You see all those things in there. I purposely try to spend more time on this log matter because it's very good for audit. And this is where bad guys usually come to clear. When they say the clear log, this is where they usually clear. This is the clear log. Setup. What are the things that have been set up? Maybe you want to set up a connections, application, whatever. Then system, maybe system is having error. This is where you get traces of malwares and all that as well. You can do that, do your search, and do more of what you know you are looking at from here. You can see there are some applications error, DCOM error, 104. May search for what that does. What is a UKD? Maybe this one is malware itself. I don't even know. So with that, I can also copy. Let me turn on my network. So we all need to we need to understand we can't be I guess. So I have to right click here or come to devices, this one, and you click on this. So it will be enabled. Now it's enabled. It has seen network. It's saying my Wi-Fi network and it's connected to the internet. So I can now go online and search for what even is the meaning of this thing that I'm seeing. I just want to understand. In IT, you need to be inquisitive. You need to. You just have to be inquisitive. Try to know things you don't know. So this one, eh, let me close that place so that you won't go there. So like this one is one of my firewall that I was trying to use before. You can see the IP of this firewall and there's a dashboard and all that. Let's go online and search for this. That they copy and paste it in there. Let the search engine shows you what's the meaning of that thing that we are looking for. Because the system is running slowly, may not get really. So you can see, you can now see this what you get from. It's saying once they're attempting to start the service, blah blah blah. Let me read more. So this is where how we troubleshoot, and you see what is a problem to an application or what is going on silently. You understand? So that will give you get answer from either sometimes you get answer from Microsoft engineers, and some will tell you some things you need to do. This DISM to restore health, this just run this command into run applet, just copy this thing and copy and paste it in that place. It will do the justice to what you want to do. So without wasting more time, we need to be going away from this particular place. I guess this network is, okay, let me disconnect it from network again. It's making it to run, to hang and all that. Hello, is anybody having question? Any questions so far? Any question? Oh,
On yet.
okay. Oh, it seems this virtual machine is freezing. Uh, I think. Oh, okay, good. So just like I said, that stuff that we copy, it just come to run here, DCIM, blah blah blah, DCIM, blah blah blah, scan, blah blah blah. You do that, it will initialize the scan and it will fix some errors. So that's just that for this, and the same thing forward event. I think I've explained that one earlier. And now let's look at shared folders. Share folders, sometimes you may have a folder shared on your system. Here, this is where system administrators, we always say system administrator have access to your computer remotely. As long as you join a domain, your computer is joined to a domain, they can access your computer and see every bit of information you have. To some people that are posting that are saving so much things on their computer, good luck to you. IT people, most especially system administrators, they are just like a prophet and babalawo. They see so many things, they will just keep silent. So I'm sorry for telling you the secret. So don't go and be telling people about it. So that is why some people they don't really trust IT people. But with that, I'm not sure system administrators really get that time to be monitoring everybody. No, they don't. But if investigation wants to start, they will start silently. And most especially if alert, maybe SIM or firewall, or there's a lot of alert from the dashboard of the security team that there is some anomaly from a particular user, then they will begin a silent probe. And then you won't know. They will just be looking at what are the files this person saved, where are the location. They can see all those things, no doubt about that. Most especially if there is this C share. This C share means they can have access to anything on that drive C. Anything on that drive C. You can see it there. So, however, if you want to be check whether maybe somebody have a direct access concurrently, if you come to this session, you will see if somebody is currently logged to your drive C. You will see the session in there. From which system, from which user, time connected, idle time, guest, from which computer it got connected to you. You will see the open files. You will see it there. Don't tell anybody. IT is fun. IT is also is a joy giver. That's what me I call it. It gives so much joy because you discover things every day. So these are the open files that was accessed by so person. How can that guy be accessing my files with? And that's why you just see IT guy will be greeting you unnecessarily. And some people, I know somebody is feeling suspicious right now. It's like, maybe that's what that guy is saying. I don't know why that guy is seeing so many things. So let me leave that one. Let's go to another place. Now, local users and groups. Good. This place is quite very, very interesting because for access on computers, we need to be sure that people that have the right access, they are the one that can access particular set of things. For cybersecurity, for system administration, we need to be able to have an insight to a data that is accessible on the system. So right here, I logged in as Deepo, which is this current user. And if you click right here, you can see oladipupo.adeosun. It's the same way, right? This is right here. However, the logon name is Deepo. If you also check the user, if you go to this PC, if you click on File Explorer, this PC drive C, now go to users, you will now see the list of logon application, logon users, the users that have been created on this computer that have logged on. Those users have been created and they have logged on. The moment that user log on that system, a folder will be created for that user. Like me now, this is all my files right here. Like me now, I can access ShareGround right here. Now it's saying that you don't currently have permission to access ShareGround. Continue to permanently get access. I can get access because this particular user is a system administrator, of course, as a CIO of Shell Nigeria Energy Unlimited. Or maybe a Jeep. Let me call it a Jeep. I should be able to have access. But at the same time, as a CIO does not mean that a CIO will have admin access. In fact, a CIO shouldn't have admin access except for a specific privilege on request to reduce attack surface. So, because Deepa is admin, if I click right here, now I can silence. It may take some time because right now it's reading through all the files of this user. So if somebody have admin access can read a document anybody has on their system, and that's why admin, but don't mind you, this is a local admin. A local admin have access to every details of this user on this computer. So that is why it's always expected that we have our data encrypted. That is why all these security governance and frameworks and policies says that specific files need to be encrypted. That's why some files, secret files, organization document also need to be passworded, because you don't know who is that system admin that is in that your office. Might be a gainfully employed by a competitor, or I'm not saying it is. So don't misquote me. Don't begin to see your IT guy as the bad guys or evil or somebody of a negative interest. But what if they were being approached by external factor, just as it is? We've heard the stories of it in some information in the banking. About people, external influence are targeting system admins in financial institutions for personal interest. Take this $10,000, give all the admin access. Just as we all know the case of what happened to a named institution. Sorry, I won't say that one here. If not that the guy turned it down, it would have been a catastrophe. So what if that person have access to all the shared details of the executive directors and all that, because they can see everything? So that is why some of your files, like we need to turn on encryption for their emails, for their documents, needs to be passworded and encrypted. This needs to be encrypted as well. And much more information needs to be done. But we get more of that when we get to this Windows Server. And this course is more than the amount we pay, no doubt about it. Because more of what people take outside, they don't go in depth like this. They don't care. They just did you 1 or 2, 3, and they are out. But I take time to go deep. I mean, the deeper. In fact, how many have this? Is just a first class, and we are having all this. So how much more of what we are still going to have in the next 3 months, going 5 months, and all that? So now you can see I have access to Shogun's file. I can see anything he has. I can create. I can copy. I can delete. I can do all sorts. Even the OneDrive, even looking at all these personal photos and family pictures in OneDrive that I've been seeing right here, I can get access to all those things. And that is why you want to separate your personal files from company's computer. Let's get back to this. So now, as me as default, as a system administrator, let's take a look at the profile of this user. If you right click on properties, you look at never password never expire. In fact, it shouldn't be. But because this computer is on a test, just a test system, it's not what I use. I set it to password never expire. Or a user cannot change password. Of course, maybe the computer is the one that is facing the customer. Maybe you created a computer like all of us know GT Bank as a can usually have a computer in their bank hall, whereby any customer can just walk in there, log in and check the account, do whatever thing. So that the user will not change the password of that computer. This needs to be selected. User cannot change computer password. However, this may also, because they will paste the computer password on the screen with a paper, they'll paste it there. So you can always log in. After a timeout, maybe after 5 minutes, once a system you time out all those stuff. So user password account is disabled. Maybe you create an account, but you want to disable it because you don't want that person to have access to that account again. As a sole administrator, that person will not be able to, even though his account is there, but it's disabled. You can click apply. But I cannot disable myself. You can see, I can't disable myself. Somebody has to do that, somebody with the same privilege. And that is why you want to be sure that there are less admins on a server or a system. Because one with malicious intent can knock out another admin, which you don't want. A member of administrators. A member of administrators. So being administrators, I can now show you different groups because administrator is a group and different groups that we have right here. So we can now have a access control assistant operators. It's a group on its own. We have access remotely and query authorization attribute permissions for resource on this computer. Administrator has a full outright control, complete and unrestricted access to computers on this computer, even a domain computer or domain users. If you're a domain user, that's why local admin can remove a computer from domain. Because it's my computer now. You join it to domain, I can remove it myself. I don't want again. Backup operators, you may want to check because this is where some of all these replications, maybe a DB, you want to launch a backup service. These are the roles that you assign. That's why audits will check that the specific roles set for user or set for applications are the right role. You don't set a full admin for a backup service. You don't. It's not done. Because what if that backup service go through a supply chain attack? Because it's a vendor application, so we will launch it, and that vendor application is susceptible to attack. If you are now using a full admin account to run that service, then they can get our account to launch a massive attack on that system because of full rights of administrator access. Do you get that logic? Do you get that side? All right, so having said this, and there are so many other areas, backup, cryptographic operators, you may want to read more about what all of this, including Hyper-V, guests. Guest is what GT and all that usually give out to. They only have is read-only limited access, and so much IIS and so many other what. And this is the one that most users are created by default users. Right click here, click on properties. You can see where this user, who are the users that have access on this, that have been joined to this user. You can see Shegun, you can see Simon. If you also check this folder here, you also see under users, you see Shegun, and we also have a Simon. I think I've deleted Simon. Oh, no, Simon have not logged in, even though Simon's been created. He hasn't logged in. And once Simon logged in, a folder for Simon will also show right here. That is to tell you the very first time Shegun logged in is right click, process it, properties, and you will now see created. No, no, this is users. I'm talking about Shegun. Sorry, I didn't click. I only click on the empty folder. Shegun itself, if I right click on it, properties, you will now see the date, November 1, which was the last week class that we had, but I had to retake this class again. We can see for all the purposes, the time that person's logged in on, the first time he logged in on this computer was 5:15. That was the first time he logged in on 14 seconds. You can see November 1. And let's suppose with this user, people, this guy is sitting on $45 million. This guy, I don't know how many people know this guy called Dipo Oladipo Adeosun. They say good news to yourself. So, so February 1, 2025, that was when I created this VM. 3:15 because our class usually starts 3 o'clock. And that was the very first time I logged in, and that date also registered right here. However, the last modified date is 11/8. You can see 8/11. Last modified because once you log in again, a new set of data so many things changed, log files, so meaning that the changes took place inside that folder and it's date modified. So what you see right here is not correct, but that's date modified, but the date created is here. So take note of that as well. Any questions so far? I want us to be on the same page so that you have a full understanding of what I'm talking. So it won't just be that I'm the only one that is. Is there any gray area of concern, or any questions so far? We already spent 2 hours. We have maybe 30 minutes or maximum 1 hour left for this class. Okay, yeah, our time is already spent. Yeah, we already spent 1 hour. I mean 2 hours from. But I just want to also get to some areas as promised. And if you don't mind, this class is recorded, which will be uploaded to the drive for us to have access after this course. So with that in mind, let's proceed. Oh, now this is Simon. Simon is created. He's a finance guy. You can see right here. What he cares about is to see how much influence that I have. Maybe somebody pay how many $1,000 somebody pay monthly. One of our customers for our our SOC as a service solution that we built. So the Simon has not logged in. And for us to see Simon, you can now see that right here, Simon has not logged in yet. Simon has not logged in. It's only Shogun and Dupo right here. But I can't even remember the password used for Simon. Let's me Google go and reset. I click on set password. You can change your password right here. As admin, I can do that. And I will say, okay, this is a password for Simon. Okay. Or let me just make it, yeah. Okay, so I've set the password, has been set. So, meaning that you can quickly change your local password instead of coming to control panel, all those blah, blah, blah. This is for advanced users anyway. You can change your password. I've done that. Now let's switch users because we want Simon to have access. You can see Segun and Simon is also here. But this is Deepon account and I can say sign out. But let me also sign into Shogun without losing anything that were open right here. Everything that I open right here will still be here, but I want to switch user to Simon and let's jump into it. So now that we have three users Oladipo addition, this is the name. If you do not set the username, if you did not set the full name, the username will be shown. But if you set the full name, you can remember, Deepa is the username, but Oladipo Adeosun is the full name. Now I want to sign in to Simon. Oh, so now I'm signing in to Simon account, and that is coming in right there. Hi. So that will take some seconds before it finishes loading, and it's getting ready for you in a couple of seconds right now. So with this, I will be taking 2 minutes break, and I'll be right back shortly. Okay, so I'm back. So now we are setting up a new profile for Simon, and all these questions is showing us on the screen the same way we used to have it on Windows 10 and all of that. But from a security perspective, I don't want Microsoft to know my location. So I'll say no. Why do you want to be seeing inking and typing, send the diagnostic data to Microsoft server for improvement? I don't want. Experience, I don't want you to be sending me adverts. I don't need all of this. So I disable everything. I accept this. Boom. So now we have a screen. So now this is a Simon screen right here. Let's first check one or two things. Go to File Explorer. We'll check this PC, local drive C, users. Now you can see Simon is there. Before it was admin, Dipo, public, Shegun. Simon wasn't there before. And you can see the date time was modified 505 today. That one was last week. Shegun was last week. Let me increase the screen display size so we can see it properly. It may be smaller on your screen. Good. So you can see right here the time it was created. So you can see Saturday, November 8th. Why Shogun is Saturday, November 1. Sorry, I didn't highlight Shogun. Saturday, November 1. So you can see right now. So that is that. However, let's not even say that because I created Shogun, Shogun too now want to create his friend. So his friend can be browsing locally and can be browsing on the computer, or to maybe Shegun also want to now have access to all my file. And I say this PC, local disk, users. So Shegun now want to see his oga that employ him to see all these confidential files. So now when we say yes, we say continue. What is this? Is asking for password. Are you is asking for password. If Shegun cannot supply password to access my account, then he cannot have access to it. But me as admin, I can have access to his account. So now that without the password, I cannot get access. If I say, do you have password to this and that? No, then it will cancel. It won't go further. Shegun can only have access to his own file. I mean, Simon can only have access to his own folder. But that is why they always say password is not even enough. What if Simon brought a computer to you, Oga? Please let me do this. Let me install this application on my computer. I need it for this and this and that. While you are typing it, Shegun is holding his phone. I mean, Simon is holding his phone. and it's doing as if it's pinging. However, it's recording your keystrokes. And that is why MFA comes into play. So even if you type your password and it sees these keystrokes that you typed, because somebody have done that for me before. As a system administrator, he said I should install this. He was looking at my keystrokes. It was even a she, elderly woman, recording with the camera. What happened? The person was recording with the camera. So when I noticed that somebody is holding a phone standing at my back or whatever, I thought I didn't type the password correctly because I usually type my password from back. I'll type the last the last three character. I will type the first two character. I will type the last two again. I will type it. I start type it scatterly. I now begin to delete the first three, the last two, and with that, it has confused that person with that. So it now enter without having looked at that incident. I was forced to enable MFA. So even if that capture my password, the MFA to token that will need to enter from my Google Authenticator or Microsoft Authenticator app must be presented before you can get that access. So MFA now comes into his, because if he have access with the password, he can beat any system. But MFA that is only either physical token hardware or the soft one on your phone or SMS that will be received on your phone, then except that person have access to that one, which is personal thing, then, or you can also use a fingerprint, or for a very big advanced servers for most financial institutions, that's a strategy they use. For a major server like a core banking application or whatever, minimum of two bosses will have to type their password. Maybe the boss A, maybe the head of infrastructure, head of a database, uh, head of infrastructure, head of a database, and another person. So the first one will type his own password, type maybe his own password. The second person will also come, type his own password. The last person will also come, type his own password. So with that, one person does not have a full access. So with that, is somewhat secure. In addition to some other things like MFA and device and defense in depth, card access and all that, to ensure that these servers are because the data we are talking about, these are servers that is holding a data of more than 500 billion naira. So we can't just take it lightly. These are database that is extremely expensive to lose. Some of these, do I even say 500 billion? All these banks take more than 4 billion, more than 3 trillion, 8 trillion naira worth of transactions in those databases. So must be seriously guarded. It can't be resting in one person's hand. Minimum of 2 to 3 or 4. Series of complex of password. In fact, anyway, let me not just waste so much of our times in there. So now you can see the need for us to have a OTP or MFA, multi-factor authentication, to have access, because if they have access to your password, they can have access to do so many things, or people might log you out and change your access and do nasty things at night when you don't even know things are going on. Disable things that can even alert you, your activity, raise tracks and all that. That is just that for this. Let me now quickly switch back to deeper, and you can see it's also showing that it's signed in. Shagun is there. Simon is the one that is currently here, but I want to sign into deeper, which is Oladipo Adeosun. I will just log in straight away without losing my data, without losing all what application he has been running. And because I did not click on sign out. If I click sign out, it will close everything that I've been doing. So now I take my password. Oh, sorry. Now you can see now that all what I opened before was still there. But if I say sign out, if I click on sign out, it will clear every application that I've opened, everything that I've copied. If you have copied files, it will clear them up. All right. So take note of this very well. Also, maybe you want to make one person want to check whether somebody have a local admin access to a computer silently, but you don't know. This is where you just come to use this place. You come to this. Hold on, please. Give me a second, please. Hello, can somebody hear me? Hello, Babatunde, you raised up your hand. You want to say something? I can't hear you. Speak louder.
Yeah, I said for a few seconds. You stopped for a few seconds, so it was I couldn't hear you. And major reason why I raised my hand was I wanted to say uh I think I'm a bit lost because the admin stuff. I think maybe it didn't start from the scratch where we need to create users and be able to give access to some of the users who can access the PC. Let's assume, okay, I'm an IT uh, support officer in a company and I need to give people access to it by giving them the user to log in and all of that. So I feel a bit I'm lost from the beginning of the process where we need to create users like Simon, Deepo, and all of that, and telling them to log in, and you sending them let them create users password by themselves, and you admin observing and seeing what they are doing, but you can still override or have control by it later on. I don't know if you understand
I get your point very well.
what I mean.
Good, fantastic. I get your point very well. So with that, we'll still get to that level, but where we are right now is on a local system administration. What you are saying is best if it's for business. That is the essence of a server systems administration. And that is where we'll be looking at the Active Directory, creating users on Active Directory, which is still have a similar activity to what we have done, but that is even more complex than this. But this is for local system. All right. If I come right here, let me redo it again so that you get a full logic. This is a new system. If your office does not have a server, if your office they don't have server in your office, you click on right click here, computer management. That is, they don't have server in your office. Computer management, go to local users and groups, expand it, users. Then you now come and right click and say new user. I can now say who should I add? I can say Adeola. Can I say let me just say Adeola. It doesn't matter how small case of username is not a case sensitive. Adeola, right? Then you can now say Adeola Ola Wuyi. All right. So this is uh, human resource officer. All right, so I will say create. If I say create right here now, boom, it's done. However, it may not show you that it's been created. You just need to, because this one is an option to create another one. Just cancel this like it. So you can see right here, Adiola has been created. And the description is this. However, take note that name and last name, you can also right click it, change it again to whatever name you want. Maybe the full name is not correct. Maybe instead of Adiola is Olushola. Maybe the full name is Olushola. However, username is different from full name. Please take note. And I repeated that one that time. So you can also use this option to log in. You can also use another option, which is the typical one people are used to, which is you click on start, you go to control panel, you go to user account, you click which one again? Manage another user account. Now add a new user to this PC. You can see all of these that were created. You can see Oladipo Adeosun is a local account administrator. Segun is also a local account and is password protected. All of them are password protected. You can now say add a new user to this PC. You can now say add account. Microsoft will be asking you for all of this. Microsoft just wants you to use, so it's asking you for username. You can also say, let's say Felicia. What's the part? No, let me not use Felicia. Let me use Bolanle. Then the username and password, let me use another. No, sorry. Okay, in case you forget password, blah, 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 anything you want to type, anything you want to type, anything. Please don't use 11111. But for the sake of just passing this, all of this, I just use this. But you understand all of this that I'm showing, right? Click on next, and boom, we've also added Bolande. So if I come here now, if I click here that I want to switch user, I will see Bolande here as well too. And from the file explorer, you will see that Bolanle has not been created in the file explorer until she logs in. So I notice you raise up your hand. I will soon call your attention. You can see right here, Bolanle has not logged in until she logged in before we can see our own profile as well. So let me take your, okay, okay, you can unmute your mic and ask a question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So what's the difference between creating a user using the computer management and or using the Windows Microsoft path?
Okay, the difference is just the time it takes. You can see with that one, I just right click right here. This is my own personal computer. I right click, computer management.
See your screen. We can't see your screen, sir.
Are you sure you are not seeing my screen right now?
It's okay now.
Okay. So it's just like doing that. I'm coming down here, users, right click. It's faster this way, nothing more than that. It just make it faster. And all those recovery password, because that one is so long. But this one, it's just 3 click. Right click, click here, and type in whatever you want to type. Boom, you are done. It's still the same thing. Just like the way we do want to do pounding yam, whether it's a powdered one or the beat it with the mortar, either one, as long as the man belly full. All right, so I think we have done so well for today, and I'll be rounding it up with just a short one. Okay, somebody is raising up his or her hand. Who is that, please?
So I wanted to ask, in sharing resources and app, for instance, let's say the admin installed, let's say a typical Firefox, and each of them using that resources, let's say the app, are they going to be having different needs? Let's say I customize my own Firefox to, let's say, to have a plugin. If Mr. Bolonle logs on, will he see that plugin?
No. Plugin, let me not explain. When you are installing application on a system, it will ask, is this application for all users or for you alone? If you are installed, it will ask, is it for all users or you? And some applications will not ask. Those ones we call it standalone applications. It will not reinstall for all users, but for the one that will be installed for all users, it will be available for all that users. So whosoever that is in, just like a Microsoft Office, is available for any user that logged into that computer, irrespective of the user. It's always available for everybody. But there are some that are called standalone, only for specific user that installed it. For example, Google Chrome. Some Google Chrome, you can install Google Chrome as a standalone, and you can also install it as for all users. However, for plugin that you install on that browser is only for that user alone. It will not reflect on other users. Plugin is solely for the users. It's just like a customization of your own browser, because your plugin will also contain some thing that is tied to your account, so it must not reflect on other users. I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, okay. That's okay.
Okay, so having looked at all of this, I think we've cleared all the basic areas. Then the other areas now again is a performance, and this is where applications use to see the system utilization, the RAM uses. We call some things governor in virtual machines. What does governor does? It looked at system utilization, process usage, memory utilization, and see if that system need more RAM. If it need more RAM, it will make a request from the host server to add more RAM. Maybe you are using 20, you allocated 8 gig RAM, and you now select it to be flexible. Meaning that if that system is taking up to 8 gig, 7.5, 7.8 RAM utilization, meaning that you need more RAM, it will make a request to the host, supply more RAM to my system, because the application I'm running, I don't want it to crash. And that one will now make more RAMs available to that host. It's just that I can't perform that one right here at the moment. But this is where some of the applications get some insight about system performance. Maybe a system is hanging, which application is demanding more resources, which one is. All of that are also there. You will see this is where some of all those applications get diagnostics resources about, for example, smart disk check, input classes configuration, video storage classes, printing, so many things about your user logon. So all those things are captured, fetched from this place. And it's so much deeper than, in fact, I would just suggest let's even not just go to this place. It's basically for programmers and the likes that get into all these areas. But just need to just say it where some of all these things come from. This is where some of all those and reports on activities, user defined report, system generated report, all of that are being taken from here. Then our device manager that I showed us earlier, you can see that one right here. Then disk management. Disk management, this is where we also check how many disk is available on the system. For example, I have a 20 gig file, even though it's 20 gig, disk O is 20 gig. However, that 20 gig is partitioned to three. One is 100 MB for boot. That is where we call it boot sector. This is where all the encryption details are residing. If this particular portion, if it's cleared out or malware gets into this place, is hard to remove. This is where all those details, encryption, keys, recovery details, the disk, file type, is it FAT32, is it NTFS, is it EFX, all those details are residing in this place. EFI system boot. Now, this is where the boot loader is residing. This place is just like, this one is 100 megabytes. It's like we have a big farm and like a 500 hectares farm. It's so massive. But the administrative office is just a 200 square meter building in a massive 500 square meter, 500 hectares. This place has the location of, this is where we have our maize plantation. This is where we have, so this partition place contains information of what is happening in many places. Okay, might say that this place is for recovery. The details of this place is written inside this 100 megabyte. Details of this 19.2 gig, details of so many things around it is written inside here. It's like a town plan. In fact, let's say town planning. In Lagos State, town planning is at Ilupeju side. That place is where all the map and strategic location of every activities government want to build a bridge at Agbara in the next 10 years. It's already in their plan. This place is like that plan that contains so many things about the entire landscape. So places in Agege in Lagos is 1B. The section of that place is this and that. These are the details that reside about every disk. That's why it's just 100 megabyte. Now looking at 19.2 that has the whole field bigger data. Also, we have CD-ROM, which is the one that we used to install but I think we don't really need to waste much of time on that. And sometimes you also want to maybe split disk. You want to add more disk to locate. Maybe you want to split the disk. You can change the drive, or you want to shrink it instead of having it as a 19.2. You can say that I want to shrink 2.8 gig out of it. You can click on that. Maybe you have a 500 tera and 500 gig. You want to reduce it to like a 40 gigabyte. You can shrink it and it will give you more space. That more space you can allocate it for another thing entirely. All that can be done right here, but it requires a careful attention so that you don't lose everything on your system. And that is that. Now, for the last one is I'm going to be talking about services. Services is also very, very important. It is very, very important because services, these are like human body. like a human brain, there are some parts that are responsible for walking. There are some parts that are responsible for muscles, some parts responsible for smell, responsible for touch, for different senses. Sometimes if you take a paracetamol or some drugs, not that it goes into your muscle, it just sends some paracetamol to be precise, is or caffeine or some other hard drugs. It just sends signal to the brain. Stop feeling the pain from this particular part of body. Just don't feel it. Ignore it. But that pain is there, but you don't, it just make it numb. That's why dentists, before they do some extraction or whatever, they'll give that person maybe injection or pour some fluid so that it will numb the sensitivity of that area so you don't even feel it. So these are also services that runs that they all needed, also application needed. For example, Bluetooth. Bluetooth is not running right now because I don't have any Bluetooth service running. Maybe you are looking at my Wi-Fi is not working. You can come down to services, look at W, just press W, scroll down, look at Wi-Fi or wireless. You can say WLAN. Maybe look at wireless or anything network. If you don't see that, press N, look at network. Network assistance is not running. Network list service, location, network location awareness, networks, so many applications. So this is where even your browsers, in fact, let me use my own personal uh, what do we call it? You just search services, it will come out. Because these services, it can make some things to come out, it can make some things to not to come out. If malwares want to come to system, they usually come to services and disable some things from running. For example, let's say I have what's the name of this antivirus again? Avast. I can just go to Avast antivirus. Malware will come to places like Avast and I try. So you can see Avast, it said it's running. But if I can come here, for security purposes, I can't even stop it. I can't start it. That is why it is good. If if it's not like that, a malware can come silently to some of these places through code, not like it will click by itself, through a script, through PowerShell and all that, and stop this security application from running. So let's say properties can say since it's automatic and they can change it to manual or disable, apply, and restart that service, meaning that that antivirus will not come up automatically. So for example, another thing is automatic type updater. You want is already disabled. I can say that automatic, apply, and I say start. Now that it's coming up. So this one now, what will it do? It's already running. It will automatically update the time automatically. And there are so much. Let's say Chrome. See, I'll look, scroll down. Okay, if I can't see it I'll press G, which is Google Chrome. Now you can see Google Chrome right here. So if something is wrong with some applications, come to it right here. Maybe you're trying to run application, it's not coming up. Come to services. That services will tell you details. You can see the description right here. Keep your Google software up to date. You can see it's Google Updater. Internet service for Google service is for update service. It's not running because I don't like using Google Chrome. I don't like it. A lot of security experts don't use Google. They do. We don't. In fact, we don't like Google. We don't. Because if you all know what Google is saying, what Google does, oh my dear, you know that they give you free, but what you're having is not free. In fact, for cybersecurity, it's so wide, but let me not waste more time on that. So if some things are not coming up, maybe the Wi-Fi is not doing well, printer is not, HP LaserJet, maybe you are trying to print, it's not coming up, maybe the service is not running. Let's look at it right here. It stopped. We want to start it so that the printer can now be able to say, okay, it's communicating with the printer. And it's automatic. And that is not even just that. Log on. What account is it using? If it's using local account, fine. But maybe that account, for some reason, has been compromised, or um, let's say you have a developer that is running that code application in your company, and that person's now says need an account to run this application, this and that. Please, we need to make sure that what type of account. We need to create a service account, a local service account with limited resources, privilege to be precise, limited privilege. Let it be run just that application, because if you give that application a broad service, a broad privilege, they can use a privilege escalation. If the application becomes vulnerable, attack can come through the application, and we call that supply chain attack, because that application is being managed by a vendor whose application is not secure. It is through that vendor that attack comes to the company. So you wouldn't want that. You want it limit such that it only run that local on that system alone, not the one that will be able to go to multiple systems. Then there is also what we call, because with this, if you want to know whether that account is having a problem, you can switch to an account. Type which account do you want to use. So this particular account, you can browse which account, let's say Simon, check name. Okay, no, this is my own account. Somebody is saying something. Somebody is saying Google has a backyard exit. Yeah, so that's fine. So it is because you're running a personal account. So if I have another, okay, let's say Gitbo. Okay, maybe if that one is not, I can just check for advanced and find now. It will show me all list of accounts that I have. So I have admin right here. If I say admin, meaning that this user, I want you to use this user account, I say okay. But if I click apply now, means that the LaserJet will be using my admin account to run, which means that printer can do anything, which is dangerous. But no, I want to use a local system account. But I'm going to cancel that. However, there is also what we call recovery. If application is running and the application is not working expectedly, or you want to know why, or maybe want it to be able to recover by itself, if error comes in, maybe for example, a, a SIM server is crashing, or the service for 6log server is not functioning as it's supposed to be, maybe a log collector that is installed to relay back information to the 6log server. If the application failed for the first time, you can say that maybe restart the service. If it failed the second time, restart the service. Subsequent fail, you may say that run this particular program. Maybe the particular program you want to run is to do a system checklist, or maybe to restart a computer, or you want, so you can just do say check DSK, check disk slash do whatever command, whatever thing you want to do. But if that thing does that, but it will automatically recover by itself. And if that one is also, you can also say that even while with that, also do send an email to person so that people will know how many resale accounts do you want. Maybe 0 means immediately. Restart service after how many minutes? After 1 minute. Or maybe you want it to restart after 5 minutes. Maybe you don't want it to overload the system. Or maybe you want it maybe to overload in the next 15 minutes. Restart the servers if it fails. So these are some of the hidden services, because this service is very, very key. You can see hundreds of services. Almost every application that we have installed have the service installed right here. And this is what we have about it. You can see any desk. Any desk is here. If I say start now, any desk is not on this. You can see it's not running right here. But if I start it right here now, it will come up. Okay, if it's not showing up right here, if I open up my task manager, you can see right here now. It's up here now. It is here. Any desk. And if I come here and say stop, so anytime you do anything on task manager, you can see it has left this place. Anything you do on task manager is doing it right here. Because even task manager itself is run all these processes, their services. Like maybe your WhatsApp is whatever. If I right click and say end task, it will go and end it from task manager. If I say WhatsApp, and like that. So let me not just waste time on all of this. So let me close this. I don't want to save anything right here, cancel it. So these are things that we have in the services. The WMI, I don't want to go there. This one is too advanced, so for now it's not really usable for us. So that is just that for system Windows 7 activities, the security posture around systems Windows 7. And if you install applications, sometimes you also need to just check to be sure that the system's application we installed are according to the need. You don't just install application you don't need. And that is just that right there. So, any question? Any question? All right. So maybe in the absence of question, I'll be tomorrow, 3 p.m. tomorrow, we'll be going into Windows Server. That is where we'll now be able to address the question Babatunde asked the other time, which is on creating user account. Why are we creating user account locally right here? The right way we create user account.
Actually, just what?
Is that?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, my question is just like and I want to request 2 minutes of your time so I can show you my Windows 11 because it appears blank.
Oh, okay, that's fine. So quickly share your screen. Let's look at it. Are you sharing your screen? Hello, are you there? About today, we can't hear you. Maybe you want to unmute your mic so we can hear you if you want to talk. Okay, that's fine.
Can you hear me now, sir?
Yes, I
Can
can
you
see
hear
your
me
screen.
now?
That's fine. So now go to your minimize
Okay,
your
alright.
browser. Yeah.
Yeah, can you see my virtual machine, please?
Yes, I'm seeing your virtual machine.
Alright.
So what's happening?
So this is what I mean.
Okay, click on that hide,
It's
that icon that is
just
showing
blank.
in there. Click on hide. Let's
Okay, alright, 1 sec, please.
just click on hide.
Oh,
Okay, so now click inside the virtual machine. Just click inside.
yeah, I've clicked inside.
Press Control key or Windows key.
Windows key, Control key.
Okay. If you are not seeing anything, go to on the top left on the screen, top left, where you see file and machine. Click on machine.
Mm,
Click on ACPI shutdown. All right. Okay, that's fine. So close. Click on close at the top right.
Okay, is it this X, right?
Yes, that X top right. Close.
Uh,
Click on power off or power off the machine. Just power off. And okay. Okay. How many gig is your computer? How many gig RAM?
I think it's 16.
Okay. Then what about click on that Kali Linux. No, not that one. Kali Linux, the one that is running on the VM.
Okay. Yeah, my Kali Linux is working.
Click okay. Once you open that, just shut down that one too, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Just click at the top. No, 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 not that, not that. That's not the way to shut down. No, 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 no.
Oh,
Cancel,
okay.
cancel. You see something that
Okay.
look like a padlock. Cancel, just cancel that one.
Yeah, I've seen it.
That look like
The
padlock.
padlock, right?
The other one beside it.
Okay, alright.
The other
Okay,
one
got
beside
you.
it. Click on it.
Then is it shut down, right?
Yes. Have you clicked it?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Okay, that's fine. So I can see that you allocated 4 gig RAM to Linux. You allocated 8 gig RAM to Windows. So 4 plus 8, that's 12. So meaning that your current OS is also using 4 gig RAM. And now let's go to that Windows 11 again. Click on that Windows 11.
Yeah, I've clicked on it.
Click on settings. Click OK. Did you start that window? I don't say you should start. Click OK. Cancel. Yes, it's already starting. You are starting it, and Something is
Okay.
showing in the background. Click OK. Close that one. Yeah, not this one. You are already
Is it okay
powering.
like
You're
this?
already powering up that VM. That's why you can't power on. You can't open settings once it's powered on.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you know what? I think I'll best help you address this one off the class because this. Just click on close. Close it. Close. Just close it and power off.
Okay. Alright.
Now click on settings. Go to systems. The RAM, give you 4096.
4096.
Yes, just type it.
Okay.
Just type it. Okay, that's
Okay.
fine. Process. Click on processor. Okay, 2 cores. That's fine. Then go to store display. Okay. Go to storage. Click on Windows 11 H2.
This one.
Yes.
Windows 11. Okay.
No, the second one.
Okay.
Click on that blue icon at the right.
Dix.
Yes, that disk icon at the right.
Okay.
Click choose disk file. Choose disk file.
Yeah, I've chosen the Dix file.
Now select the where is it? Where is the Windows 11?
Yeah,
Windows 10?
yeah, this is it.
Okay, now click on it and open it.
Okay.
Open. Okay. Click start. I can see that you even change some settings, Hyper-V, virtualization. All those things are going to be giving you issues with it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm saying all those nested paging, you don't need all those things. And you don't need them. I'm just seeing those things again now. Those things are going to cause. Uh-huh. Okay, I guess it's coming up now.
All right, sir.
It's supposed to come up smoothly without showing all those things. But it's okay, Sean. You can close those notifications, keyboard, and mouse. Just close this one. Okay, so now you can see that it's coming up now.
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh. So I want you to go and if you can finish this one up, or let me just walk you through to your battery is also running out, so may also wants to plug it,
Yeah, I have a charger here.
or you don't want it to consume your power. Like Nigerians, where all of us dey bypass meter for now from transformer sef we dey bypass am. Okay, so I guess you may just want to follow through the process, and that will make everything work smoothly. And if you also need a support, I can guide you on that. All right, so I think we have to we have to come to the class will come to an end for today. So if there is any other further question, please ask or you reach out to me in private chat. Then we'll take it up from there.
Uh,
All right. So any question from anybody else?
So by tomorrow class, we should be having Windows and server installed already before the class, right?
We may not have it fully installed. We can do it together, but you can also, I would just suggest if you can get it installed by yourself, it also make it faster for us. But the installation is pretty simple. The same way what Babatunde just did now is exactly the same process we'll install Windows Server. Just select it. It's even more straightforward than Windows 11. Like I showed us earlier in the first instance when I was trying to do the installation, just select the Windows Server desktop experience, Windows standard desktop experience, then follow through the process and it asks for password with twice, which is administrative password, and that's all. So after that, we'll be able to do more insights on Windows Server and joining it with Windows 7. And we'll also look at some small area in Active Directory, even though we won't go deeper into that side, but the security aspect of it will also consume those areas together for us to understand the security around Windows Server and how Windows Server IAM, Identity Access Management of Windows Server, running it with enterprise grade system administration and so to enhance the security posture of data management. So all these and more, we'll be looking at that tomorrow class, and further assignments will follow through for all of us. All right. Any questions so far for anybody else? Okay, if there is no more questions, I want to say thank you for joining today's class. See you tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening.
You too. Good evening and bye.
Yeah, good evening.